Here is the brand new Apple TV Plus show that just wrapped up its season one this past week. This is the show executive produced by Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg. This is also the third different adaptation of Cape Fear. The first one came out in 1962, starring Gregory Peck. The second one was a movie that came out in 1991, directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Robert De Niro. In this version, Javier Bardem stars in the leading role as Max Cady. So when he was put in prison because of the murder of his wife, he was represented by Anna Boden, who in this show, is played by Amy Adams. The person they were opposing was prosecutor Tom, played by Patrick Wilson. Max is sent to prison, and after the case is over, Anna and Tom actually have a relationship, get married, have two kids, Zach, played by Joe Anders, and Natalie, played by Lily Colias. But out of the blue, decades after Max was put in prison, he is unexpectedly released from prison, and the Bowden family fear for their lives that Max could be retaliating them after them putting him behind bars. The show is 10 episodes long in season one. My name is Max Denberg. Welcome back, everyone, to Max Talks Movies. We're talking the 2026 version of Cape Fear. And going in, I actually have never seen, it's one of the rare Martin Scorsese movies that I have never seen in its full length. I've seen clips of the 1991 film. I've never seen the Gregory Peck version. And there was a part of me that was like, should I watch those versions or at least the Scorsese version ahead of this movie? But I actually wanted to come into this movie as blind as possible and take the show for what it is, not comparing it to the book that it's based on and not comparing it to the two other films. Just talking about the show face value. And this is a show that is an enjoyable watch. That is one of the most stupidest shows you will also watch all year long. It's fun. It is thoroughly entertaining. I was never bored watching Cape Fear on Apple TV Plus, but it's also a very stupid show. That's kind of the best way to sum it up. But to start with the main positives, the biggest positive with this version of Cape Fear is Javier Bardem, who, going into the show, the one nervous thing I had was how many more times can Javier Bardem play a villainous character? We've seen it, we've been there, we've done that. He did No Country for Old Men, of course, Skyfall, even Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Tales, among other films. He always plays a devilishly entertaining villain. And I was at the point before the show started, I was like, have I had enough? Like, how many more of these can he give us that are equally as villainous, calculated, all of those things? And he is fantastic. He is easily the best part of the show because what he has to prove here is that yes, you want to believe that he could be a serial killer, believe that he is a guy who would kill his own wife, that he is a dastardly evil guy. But the show also wants you to believe, of course, in other points, that he is this charismatic guy you could see yourself believing and the public believing actually was innocent in the crime against his wife. So that's the big what if of the show. Did he actually kill his wife? And he has, as a performer, has to allude to him being the killer, also him not being the killer. And he does a really good job of that. He is devilishly entertaining. He is perfectly over the top when he needs to be. He can be perfectly serious when he needs to be. If there's one person to watch the show for, it is definitely Javier Bardem. Amy Adams and Patrick Wilson, of course, are very good actors. They're also very good. Amy Adams is probably my favorite actress of all time, so I always want to getting to see her is always a good thing. And as I said, this is definitely feels like a soap opera where even though things in this show aren't going to make sense, are pretty stupid, is very cheesy and campy, if you're on the ride with the show and the story, even with how stupid it is, I think you're still going to have a good time with Cape Fear. I was never bored watching the show. I had myself laughing in a good way the majority of the episodes. I was pretty locked in to the show. It also offers a lot of twists and turns basically in every episode. So it leaves you at least understanding that something big is going to happen in every single episode. And I will say it is a very easy watch. The episodes are around like 40 to 55 minutes. They are very easy watches. They fly by for the most part. And this is a very well made production. Of course, Scorsese and Spielberg both produced this. You've acclaimed filmmakers behind the screens in S.J. Clarkson, Trey Edward Schultz, Morton Tildum, who direct episodes. So it's a very well made show, sleek show, and a really good score as well from Jeff Russo. But as I said, this show has no logic. And I do think the show goes absolutely off the rails in a bad way in those final two episodes because you're really building to this very important crescendo of what's going to happen. Don't worry, I'm not going to get into spoilers. But I did find myself leaving very unsatisfied. I think the finale of the season is easily the worst episode of the show. And that's not good. Like the show, I think is actually like pretty okay, decent the first 6 to 7 episodes, but the final 2 to 3 episodes, I do think go too campy, too over the top, and there were too many situations where I was like, that probably wouldn't happen in real life. That definitely wouldn't happen in real life. How does this make any sense? And I was saying that 5 to 10 times per episode in those final 2 to 3 episodes of the season. And because the problem here is the first couple episodes actually ground this in very much reality. And you're kind of questioning how would this happen? How would this happen? But as the show goes on, it becomes more cheesy, more campy, more over the top, more ridiculous. And it never found the happy medium, which was serious, grounded serial killer story mixed in with very campy, over the top kills. That I think can work, but the show never finds the balance. It's either super serious and melodramatic or it's very over the top and cartoonish. And I think if it ever found the perfect balance, this could have been a really good show. The kid characters on the show, like the kids of Bowden, Zach and Natalie, I never cared about. They were easily the two least interesting parts of the show. They were very annoying characters. There are also a lot of annoying side characters that we meet throughout the entire show as well. The only characters I really cared about were our big three. So this is a show that I think some people are going to think it's one of the worst shows of the year. Some people are going to have this as a guilty pleasure because I think that's the bar for the show, is being a fun guilty pleasure. This might be a fun guilty pleasure for me, but on the whole, I still think it's a mixed bag. So I'm giving this version of Cape Fear a 2.5 out of 5, a 53%. What are you guys' thoughts on Cape Fear? Let me know down in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to Max Talks Movies, and I'll see you guys in another video very soon.